Cool.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Racing Podblast with me, Tony Mack, and Ben Aiken from Narrow in the Field. And a Happy New Year to everyone. We're off to Sandown for our first Podblast of 2025, covering 3 handicaps from their Saturday card, including the main race of the day, the Veterans, main race of the day, Veterans Handicap Chase Final, before heading up to Scotland for the next leg of our Football Trixie Battle, top, middle and bottom. I looked at it, Ben, and I thought, these aren't great races, are they, for a Saturday afternoon? But it's probably the worst since we started doing the Podblast, to be honest with you. But racing first, off to Sandown, here we go. And starting with the Class 2 handicap chase over 2 miles, 4 furlongs, due off at 150. First of our 3 handicaps under analysis this week. Ben, can you start us off with that one, mate? Welcome along.
Hello, Tony. Yeah, 150 Sandown. Some interesting and improving unexposed types in this handicap, along with a couple of others with a bit more chasing experience to their name. I narrowed the field down to just 2, Rocco Vango and Triple Trade. Rocco Vango, least exposed chaser in the field, this being only his 4th start over fences. He's won 2 of his previous chases, finished a no second in the other one. Won his last start at Uttoxeter at the end of November. He was only put up £2 for that effort, which looks lenient enough to me. It was career best effort on the figures, but in his new mark of 127, I think that still looks well within range for him. I thought he'd go up a bit more than he did. He moved to the Ollie Murphy yard last February. Really seems to have unlocked the horse's potential, that move. 4 wins and 2 close seconds from his 6 starts since being with Ollie Murphy. I think he can still get more out of the 9-year-old. So Rocco Vango looks a big player to me. A Triple Trade, he's at the other end of the experience spectrum to Rocco Vango, this being his 19th chase start. But he's on a winnable mark at present, and I like that they've stepped him back up in trip for this. They've been bashing away at the minimum trip on recent starts, but he's a much better horse over and around these mid-distance trips, and he gets his prime conditions to shoot for here. Handicaps over further than 2 mile 2, mark of 135 or less, and fields of 8 or less, where he is 4 wins and a second from 5 starts. Of that 2, it would be the unexposed chase profile of Rocco Vango that swings it for me. I also think he'll improve for going right-handed for the first time over fences here. His 3 chase starts to date have all been left-handed, and he's been noted as jumping to his right on each of those 3 starts. So I can see improvement coming from him going right-handed over fences for the first time. And it's Rocco Vango for me at around 3:1, 7-2. So Rocco Vango. Tony, what you got for this handicap?
Yeah, I've got Rocco Vango as well, mate. Very much so for Ollie Murphy and Sean Bourne. Very impressed with his the way he ran, the way he jumped at when he was held up in rear at Uttoxeter in November. Beating 4 rivals, half a length, beating toss of a coin as 13-2, odds of 13-2 he was that day. That's following up his defeat by Noz, Guard Your Dreams, as 3-1 at Warwick earlier in October. He's been busy as well, over making his seasonal debut in September as well, Rocco Vango, but I think he's got what it takes to win this, and I think he'll win just at the expense of another one I fancy here, and I may well go a bit Dutch in these 2. Hunter Legend for Venetia Williams and Ned Fox. Very, very impressive win at the back end of the year, over the Christmas holiday, just 7 days ago at Leicester. Beating Invincible now as the 11-8 favourite, beating 7 rivals 7.5 lengths off an £8. Obviously, he gets an £8 hike in the weights for that. But Ned Fox carries off 3 as well, so I think that can go well as well. Hunter Legend there, Rocco Vango and Hunter Legend there in this 150. I think Hunter Legend, looking at the GeeGeez pace analysis, Jupiter de Geek for Gary and Josh Moore should take them along under Freddie Mitchell. But Hunter Legend shouldn't get too far behind Jupiter de Giek, and he can race prominently there. And hopefully either one or the two, hopefully, Ben, can land the spoils there in that 150 at Sandown. 3 o'clock at Sandown is the Class 2 Veterans Handicap Chase. It's the final tomorrow, and it's over 3 miles. Ben, you're fancying the 3 o'clock?
Yeah, generally not my cup of tea from a betting perspective, Veterans Chases, but I don't mind the series final, to be fair. Slightly smaller field than usual, but still looks a competitive enough affair. I narrowed it down to the following: Remastered, Smarty Wild, and Fortescue. Remastered has had an extremely in and out last 2 years, and mostly out. Since the start of 2023, he's run 8 times, failed to finish on 6 of those races. And one of his 2 completed races, he finished a 24 length 7th of 11. But the other completed race, he did actually win. That was on seasonal debut this season when he won a Class 3 handicap at Wincanton in October. So it is very, very variable form from him, but he does go well under the conditions he faces on Saturday. It chases on a right-handed tracks, but not a very undulating track, and breaks of more than 30 days, where he has 4 wins from 4 starts. One of those 4 wins was that Wincanton win last October. So despite his in and out recent form, these are conditions he can act under, and he's potentially overpriced at 11 to 1 or bigger, Remastered. Smarty Wild, he's another that comes off a non-completion. He was pulled up at Haydock at the start of December. That was his first run for 690 days, and he does always need his first run back off a break. He's 0 from 6 on seasonal debut runs, so he can be expected to improve for that comeback run. He's also a better horse going right-handed, so left-handed Haydock off a long break. There's never going to be conditions that were going to suit him. So his last run is easily excusable, and he will be much better suited by conditions he meets with here. A right-handed track, a break of 42 days or less, and running from a mark of 131 or less, where Smarty Wild is 5 wins and 3 places from 8 starts. If he can recapture any of his best form, then he does have conditions in his favour here. Smarty Wild, quite a big price as well. And Fortescue, he's the other on my shortlist. He finished well beaten last time out at Ascot, but that came on ground that was too quick for him. A good ground, and over a trip, 3 mile 5, that probably stretches his stamina beyond its limits. He's had a decent break since then, and he'll be much happier on this ground with cutting it and over this 3 mile trip. If you look at Fortescue over 3 mile to 3 mile 2 trips, on good to softer, and at listed level or below, he has 6 wins and 5 places from 11 starts, conditions he gets here at Sandown. And he's also on a mark that's below both his last 2 wins. Added to that, he gets a whopping £16 pull at the weights with Copperhead from their meeting at Aintree in October. The Copperhead won that meeting by 14 lengths, but that came on good ground, and Copperhead also had race fitness over Fortescue that day. With that in mind, I think the difference in the market between the pair here, Copperhead is around 3 to 1, Fortescue's around 8 to 1, 9 to 1. I think that's too big, too wide a difference between the two. And Fortescue is the one that I've landed on for this Veterans Chase. Conditions will suit him. His handicap mark is well within range for him. So Fortescue, for me, around 8 to 1 sort of mark, maybe a bit bigger in a couple of places. So Fortescue, for me, in the Veterans Chase. Tony, what you got for this one?
You've named 2 horses there, mate. The stables are in absolutely banging form at the minute. Henry Daly Yard and Philip Hobbs and Johnson White, absolutely flying at the moment. Smarty Wild and Fortescue there. Fortescue, I think, is it Fortescue? Fortescue? Anyway, but my 2, I've gone 2 different ones here, mate. Copperhead at around 100 to 30. Eldorado Allen at around 4 to 1. Very impressed with Copperhead. He's had 5 runs or 4 runs this year so far. He had a run back in May, but I don't count that. On seasonal debut, he was winning at Chepstow on good to soft ground. Then he went and won the Veterans Handicap Chase, beating 6 rivals by 14 lengths, as you mentioned there, Fortescue, 14 lengths behind at Aintree. And then he ran well in defeat, finishing second of 4 at Sandown in another Veterans Handicap Chase. And then last seen in the Veterans Chase at finishing second of 10, beating a neck behind Numitor at 14 to 1 Copperhead. Copperhead for me there, Joe Tizard's yard in good state as well. Freddie Jingle taking off £3 there. He's riding very well over Christmas. He's had a great Christmas and New Year. And Eldorado Allen, who I thought ran... I mean, I just dismissed him out of sight last race in this Veterans Chase behind Numitor and also behind Copperhead as well, when he finished third of 10, beaten 4 1/4 lengths. I thought he ran very, very well there, and I think he could well be spot on here. He's finished second of 6 this season on seasonal debut at Warwick in November, and then, as I say, this third of 10 was quite impressive at 12 to 1. He's 4 to 1 tomorrow. Joe Tizard, Brendan Powell in the saddle. He's a course winner. He's also won over a similar trip as well. And Eldorado Allen and Copperhead for me, and another Dutch for me there in that 3 o'clock race. Moving on to the 3:35 at Sandown, Class 3 handicap hurdle over 2 miles. What do you fancy here, Ben?
3:35, I think.
3:35.
So you thought it was a strong Class 3 to close the Sandown card with. I came out with a short list of the following: Navajo Indy, Hardy de Soy, and Spirits Bay. Navajo Indy comes here off the back of 3 wins on the bounce, including last time out in Newbury in handicap debut. And that came a Class 1 race, so he's taking a drop in class here for his Class 3. And that race does look like a strong piece of form. 4 of the 8 to have run since have all won, and Salver, who finished 4th in the Newbury race, fell at the last in the Grade 2 Relkio hurdle on New Year's Day at Cheltenham. It's still within a shout of placing there. The form of Navajo Indy's win at Bangor 2 starts back also looks decent. The horse he beat by a head that day has since come out and dotted up by 16 lengths. It was 10 plus lengths back to rest in the Bangor race. So Navajo Indy is coming into his banging form, and with the form of his races working out well, so he was easy enough for me to stick on my short list. Hardy de Soy, he caught my eye at Carlisle last month when finishing second on seasonal debut. He's a horse that always needs his first run of the season, so you should come on plenty for that run. He won this race in 2023 of a £6 lower mark, and he gets his prime conditions to shoot for here. October to February, in a break of 56 days or less, where he has 3 wins and 2 places from 6 starts. Might just be vulnerable to something a bit better handicapped or less exposed, but he should go well at Hardy de Soy. And Spirits Bay, he's the other on my short list. He made a seasonal comeback at the Cheltenham December meeting. Ran a solid 5th of 14 there. I think they'll appreciate coming back to a right-handed track here. He's 3 wins and a second from 4 starts right-handed, compared to 1 win from 5 left-handed. And a win left-handed came in a bumper over hurdles on a left-handed track. He's a fall and 2 5th-place finishes. I do think he prefers going this way around. He's also still unexposed in handicaps after only 3 previous starts. He'll hopefully still have more to offer from his current mark. Spirits Bay. Now, there's a few in here I could make a case for, but I'm going to say with Navajo Indy. His form looks rock solid, and he should still have plenty more to offer in handicaps. So Navajo Indy, for me, he's around 4 to 1, 9 to 2. Tony, what you got?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, mate. Navajo Indy for trainer Tom Simmons, Kellen Quinn in the saddle there. And my other one as well, that's on me subs bench, as it were, Honky Tonk Highway for the Skeltons. But 2, I will go against, obviously, an alternative to Navajo Indy, but I do fancy that one very strongly. But Oh My Johnny for Philip Hodds and Johnson White, Mahale Nolan. That's his only ride for a Saturday as well, as for a Saturday afternoon, Mahale Nolan. He's on 7 to 2 shot. Oh My Johnny, he made a seasonal debut at Ludlow, finishing 4th of 12 back in October. Then he fell at Bangor on D, and then came back really in good style, although it was a bit of a low-class thing, a Class 4 maiden hurdle, beating 10 rivals by 5.5 lengths as the 8-11 favourite he was that day in December. And I think he can go on to bigger and better things. Oh My Johnny, he's only 5-year-old by Soldier of Fortune. And as I say, the Philip Hobbs and Johnson White yard are in really good fettle at the minute, and the owner of Oh My Johnny is the Richard Johnson Racing Club. There you go. So everybody will be pulling in one direction there. Old Philip Hodds and Richard Johnson teaming up again with Mihail Nolan, as I say, his only ride of the day tomorrow on Oh My Johnny. And the other one is Your Division. Henry Daly, I was saying earlier that his yard are in good form at the minute. Sam Twiston Davis is booked to ride Your Division. He was last seen finishing second of 9, beating 1 length behind Golden Move as the 9-2 favourite that day at Wincanton, over just short of 2 miles on soft ground. I think he can go well at an each-way price as well. Your Division for trainer Henry Daly in that one. And but don't forget, I'm with Ben on Navajo Indy as well. But Oh My Johnny and Your Division tomorrow in that 3:35. Right now, football time. Here we go.
The great thing about loving football is you cannot explain why you love it. It just happens. Chasing a ball round a park, wanting one team to win against the other.
El Mahoney, right foot, whips it. Oh, GeeGeez Peeps, man.
That's me, GeeGeez Peeps, man. Minus 34. Blimey, you're kicking my backside again here. Plus 16. What's going on, Ben?
Wow, yeah. Top, middle and bottom. I was just thinking, at least I can say the Scottish football team names, because I must have said every horse name wrong in that.
Why?
Yeah.
No.
I think my brain's not working today. I called them. I just said what I saw. Yeah, top, middle and bottom. Just one winner each week, each last weekend. So -4 for us both.
Ooh.
Current totals, as you say, plus 16.26 for me. You minus 34.39 this week. My top, middle and bottom. On top, Ayr to beat Wraith Rovers at 4-5. Ayr have been strong at home this season. The 1-7 lost only 1 of their 10 matches. Wraith have struggled on the road. They've lost 6 of their 8 away matches. They've only scored 4 times. So I'm shooting for an Ayr win in the top section. Middle, Arbroath to beat Alloa at 19-20. Arbroath starting to really get a charge on now. They're starting to create a gap at the top for themselves. Very much the form team in the league. Alloa, they're starting to wobble a bit. Tough game for them to try and get back to a bit of form. So Arbroath for me in the middle. And bottom, Edinburgh to beat Bonnyrigg Rose at 9-5. Edinburgh, I think they're still a bit underrated in the market right now, but facts are they've taken the most points of any team in the league in the last 10 matches. They've also got the best defensive record during that period. Bonnyrigg, they come in off the back of 2 losses. No team has conceded more goals on the road this season than them. I'm taking Edinburgh to continue their recent form with a win here. So my top, middle, bottom, top, Ayr, middle, Arbroath, bottom, Edinburgh. Tony, what you got?
To beat Bonnyrigg, goals let in.
Goals, yeah.
Greenock Morton, eh?
Call them what you give them plenty of names, Bonnyrigg.
Yeah, I should have thought about that actually a bit more. Anyway, we'll come up with one next week or a week after, Ben. Sure we will. I've got Greenock Morton at home to Hamilton at 5-4. Cove away at Queen of the South 21-10, and East Fife at home to Forfar at 4-5, just to get the treble in there as an odds-on shot. So Greenock Morton at home to Hamilton, Cove away at Queen of the South is my middle at 21-10, and East Fife at home to Forfar at 4-5. Hopefully, blimey. I do apologise if you're following my selection. 34-39. It's never been that bad before. Many thanks for listening to the latest edition of the Racing Podblast. Very best of luck with your bets at Sandown this weekend. A big thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. No show next weekend for us, but we'll be back before you know it. Have a nice break, Ben.
Yeah, just on it.
And we'll see you soon. Thanks for listening.